Thank you so much for joining us today. You know, today we're going to meet some families who say that their lives have been torn apart by secrets, lies, and rumors. They say that they don't know who to believe, and the only thing that will solve their problem and their questions are DNA tests that'll finally tell who is telling the truth. So that's what we did. You will hear the results today on this show. Please welcome our first guest, Susan and her daughter Jessica, to the show. This absolutely amazes me. Susan, tell me what your life has been like for the last 15 years.
I tell you, Montel, my life has been, it's been hell. I have lost sleep, I have gained weight, I have lost it, I have just, it's been awful because I'm not sure if my daughter is my daughter or not.
Let's stop for a second so everybody can understand what you're talking about. Let's go back 15 years, okay? Go back 15 years. You went to take a paternity test. Why?
Because I'm a single parent and the state wanted to find out who to go after for child support.
And you knew you had been intimate with one person.
Yep.
In particular. So you went in, he went in, took some blood from Jessica, right? You went in and you had a paternity test done.
Yes.
Correct? Now, when the results came back, what did the results say about the potential father? No possible way. It could be him.
Yeah,
there was no possible way he could be my dad.
Came back as zero chance he could be your father.
Yeah.
But then something else shocking came out of this. Did the paternity test also say there was no possible way you could be Jessica's mother?
Yeah.
Now, how the heck does this happen? I've only heard of this happening once before in America. There was a story out of Florida of a young lady who was switched at birth. You said that on the night that you gave birth, morning you gave birth, 5 other children were born?
Yes, that when it brought back into my memory because when she was born, the nurse had made a comment that there had been 4 or 5 other babies, the same sex, same look, same weight, everything the same, that morning also, and she had just commented that here was another baby like that, and
same sex, same weight, same hair color, same eyes. And so you think that maybe while the 5 babies or 3 babies were in that birthing center, something could have happened? Maybe?
I don't know, maybe.
They could have gotten mixed up.
Because I remember the next morning, I didn't get to see her that whole day. She was born in the morning, and so I didn't get to see her the next day. And when they brought her to me, the first reaction I had was, oh, this baby looks different. But I didn't
think anything of
it. I just thought that it was because she was all cleaned up, but that was my first reaction.
All right, so when did you go for the first paternity test? That was 15 years ago, right?
Yeah, in
Okay.
82.
82. So then you didn't tell Jessica this until she was 9.
Right.
Is that right, Jessica? You found this out at 9.
Yes, I did.
And what did she tell you exactly?
She told me that she had went in for the test and it excluded my father as my father and that she wasn't my mother.
And so what did the two of you think to do about this? This was now 6 years ago.
I couldn't do anything. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know what to do. There was nobody could relate.
You held this in for 9 years?
She started doing drugs and drinking to cover it up. So she wouldn't have to think about it.
And that's now stopped, right, Mom?
Yes.
So drugs and alcohol is over.
I'm in recovery.
But you came here today because you wanted to know some truth.
Yes.
And you obviously were not able to do this kind of a test. These tests are very expensive. So you've come here today to ask us to do it for you. We are right now waiting for the lab to return the results. We're waiting. They'll be here in probably another 10 minutes. Is that right? They're supposed to be here our time. I won't tell the nation what the time is, but they're not supposed to be here until the top of this hour. So we're going to get them in a few more minutes. And as soon as we do, we'll let you know. I said to you backstage that no matter what the results are, this would change your life today. And the reason why it would change your life is because let's say that today the test that we does validates the earlier tests. What will you then do? Because that means that if there were 5 babies in the hospital and you have one that might not be yours, someone else has one that's yours. But you were her mother.
This is
You
the
want
one I
another
brought home. This is the one I've raised, and this one's Jessica's my daughter.
If it
I don't.
comes back negative, it isn't going to change anything, but then I want to start looking for my biological family.
I cannot believe that you've gone this long, 15 years, and the original lab, why didn't they retest you? Why did they not
They were
retest?
happy. I couldn't. When I got the results and they said that, I just said, oh my God, leave me alone. Oh, no. And they were happy to drop it themselves.
They just dropped the whole issue?
It was just dropped.
But that still doesn't answer the question as to who her father is. You know who her father is?
I sort of have an idea, but the test result came back negative, but I'd always had a suspicion that he had had somebody else go in to take the blood test, but that could never explain why mine came back negative.
Absolutely. Which doesn't make much sense. Okay, we're going to take a little break. By the end of this hour, I'm going to give you these results. You're going to know what it is. And no matter what they are, you are mother and daughter.
Right.
You have been mother and daughter. You pulled through some tough times. You held on to this secret too long, and it's now time to let the truth set you free. Without a doubt. I'm going to take a little break, and we come back with him, a man who says that he's starting to doubt that his 11-month-old son is his. And he wants some answers today. Take a little break. We'll be back right after this.
After 7 weeks of marriage, I caught my wife in bed with my best friend.
Yes, ma'am, you had a question.
Yes, I have a question for Jessica. That's the daughter's
Yes,
name,
for Jessica.
Why are you interested in looking for your biological mother? This is your mother. She raised you. She loves you. Why would you want to find a biological mother?
Well, I just want to see where I come from.
This woman is the one that made you what you are today. If you're happy with that,
You know, I have psychologists and psychiatrists, and all I need you. You know what I mean? No, absolutely, though. I mean, honestly, what difference will it make? Now, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid that if we find out that the test results come back that Susan is not your mom, someone's going to come and try to change this situation?
I'm afraid that somebody will come and take me away and make me go live with that other family.
That is a concern. But you yourself said you had doubts.
Yes, I've always felt that I don't really belong because I don't look like her. Well, I sort of do. I do look like her, but I just feel out of place.
I'm sitting here, look, and this has nothing to do with weight or anything. I'm looking at your eyes. I'm looking at your nose. I'm looking at your lips. I'm looking at your teeth. I'm looking at your hairline. It is identical to this woman sitting to your right. So, identical.
Well, the thing is, Montel, I agree. I think they made a mistake. Somebody has made a horrible mistake here. Mm-hmm. And I have had to live with this and deal with this. Mm-hmm. And,
pinky size. See this? There are genetic things that people have. You know, if you look at your hand, look at your parents' hands sometimes, and you'll notice one major genetic trait is the length of your pinky finger is almost identical to one of your parents. It'll always be. One parent may have a pinky finger a little shorter. Yours are almost identical. You know that, right? That's one of those little things you can look at. Okay, all right. Just hold on. What were you going to say?
I just say that even though I do understand that, there is still that paper that I have saying that I was excluded as her mother, and I just can't be positively sure. Because there's always that doubt.
Okay. Well, please welcome Brad and his wife, Lisa, to the show. Brad, you contacted us. Why?
Well, because I got reason to believe that my son, my 11-month-old son Marcus, is not my child.
And whose child does he think this baby might be, Lisa?
My husband thinks that his best friend, who was in our wedding, is the father of my son.
Okay, now, how could this be? Why do you feel that way?
because after 7 weeks of marriage, I caught my wife in bed with my best friend.
This happened.
Yeah, about 6 weeks ago.
Why did this happen, Lisa? Let me come over here for a second. Why? How did this happen?
Brad and I were having a lot of problems before we got married.
Before you got married?
Yeah.
But you got married.
Yeah. We still had problems at the time, but there was a lot put into the wedding already. So we decided to go through with it. After the wedding, we still were having our problems.
But that doesn't explain, that was after you were married, you were already pregnant.
I had already
Marcus
had Marcus.
was already born. So why do you think that Marcus could be someone else's child?
We have a hometown celebration, and back in June of 1996, there was a party at Gerard's place. I don't drink, but Lisa was having a few drinks, and I had to leave the party. And I left for about 3 hours, and I asked Gerard, being he's been my best friend for 28 years, to keep an eye on Lisa to make sure she didn't drink too much.
And you think he was keeping an eye?
And I think he kept a good eye on her.
And Lisa, you say what? This never happened. Never happened.
It never happened.
Today is the day you've come here because you want to know some truth. But today is also the day of truth from the two of you. I mean, I can give you truth as to whether or not this child is yours or Jared's or whatever. I can do that. That's the easy piece. But the hard part is that really isn't what the answer is that he wants. He wants to know truth. Are you still in love? Do you want to remain married? You were 19. You were 35. Can your marriage survive this? Can you survive the fact that there has already been some infidelity?
I can, because I think if it would have happened with anyone else but my best friend, I can forgive him and forgive her because I love this woman with all my heart and my son. There's a lot of pressures. I mean, being only 19 years old, we own a house.
I want to make it work. I know what I did was wrong, and I can't change it.
But you honestly still have some feelings for Gerald.
There's a lot of feelings.
Gerard.
Yeah, there's a lot of feelings both ways. I do love Brad, and I do want to stay married to Brad and work on our relationship. But it's hard because we still see Gerard a lot, and Brad's still really good friends with him.
Man, let me just tell you right now, he must be the best friend in life. Because, and that means he's such a good friend, he's more important to you than your wife. Because, I'm sorry, Gerard would have to know, you got to go. Period. It happened. How can the two of you ever be anywhere together? I'm going to have Gerard out. I have Gerard out, and I'm going to take a little break, but how could you ever be anywhere together and not question? If Gerard goes into the kitchen to get a beer, and she walks in to get a spoon, you're going to be like...
It happens.
And sit back down again.
It happens.
You know, she goes to the bathroom, Gerard goes to another part of the house, you'll be like... That's not what a relationship is built on.
Right.
So something has to change. Because if you were in love with him before, you should be in love with him now. And before you got in Gerard's bed. We'll take a break. We'll be back right after this. Yes, ma'am, you had a question. I'll come in.
Lisa, do you understand the meaning of trust and love? Because I feel that you don't.
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
I guess the trust is hard for Brad to deal with.
Wait, I have a microphone on you, but I'm stuck with two. Go ahead. Let her answer both the first two questions. Yes, ma'am.
It's hard. I mean, I'm only 19, and it's hard for me to be in a relationship like this and to be so tied down. I mean, he needs to understand, too, that I need a life. And just because I'm married and I have a child with him, doesn't mean I have to stay home all the time.
Hold on a minute. Wait. Shh, please. Yes, go ahead.
I mean, I know it's hard for him to let me go out with my friends and do things, but he needs to understand I can't change what I did, and he needs to rebuild his trust in me.
But maybe what the two of you need to understand is that you're trying to force a square peg into a round hole. You just defined what the issue is. You were 19. You said it yourself, your own words. I was not ready, and I'm not ready for this kind of relationship. He needs to understand that I need to have a life. I need to be able to go out. You want to be single and have your cake and eat it too, and you can't do both. But that doesn't mean that the two of you can't have a relationship. Please welcome Gerard to the show. You know, I mean, it's easy for us to say when we're not there. I got to say that, because if you're not sitting in this seat or you're in these pants and these shoes, you don't know. The two of you maintaining your friendship. I made a very bold comment earlier. I said, if you were my buddy, I don't care if I've known you for 40 years. I'm sorry, man. I would cry and say goodbye. Because I couldn't see constantly wondering whether or not, when she gets a little bit pent up again, 19 at age 21, which I've been there once. It really isn't like cheating because, you know, Brad thinks it was okay, so I could just go all the time, just kind of come back to the same person. I could be cheating my whole relationship. And it's really not like cheating because he's already said, well, you know, it's okay, I forgive you. So this could be like an easy fit for the two of you. Now, you had a girlfriend at the time, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Matter of fact, she was there that night.
Yes, she was.
Okay, but let's throw all that out the window. The question is, who was the father of Marcus? You adamantly said, and you told your friend this straight up, that the two of you did not have sexual relationships other than that night. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Now, before that, did you have any after that night? The first night, were the two of you intimate again?
Yes, we were.
Today is the day to tell it all. During the 5-day period of time that she left home, is that what you were talking about?
Yes. Lisa had actually stayed at my place for actually right around 5 days.
Okay, so was that the end of the sexual relationship?
It ended, yeah, after the first couple days.
So after the first couple days, no
Yes.
return visits.
No return visit.
Has not happened again. This is time to be truthful. Has not happened again.
No, it hasn't.
Well, since this time, she's been back. Everything's been perfect in our relationship. I mean, we do have still our little bit of arguments and everything else. But I go over to his place myself when she works, and I play pool and stuff. But then she'll want to go over there and play pool too.
But it's not okay for...
And I have a problem with that.
You know, and I don't blame him, but he gets really upset, but he can go, and it's anything I want to do. I think we've gone to a movie once since then. We don't go out. He always wants to sit at home, and his excuse is, well, I'm 35 years old, and this is what I want to do. I want to sit at home and spend time with my wife, and that's fine, but he's got to realize, too, that I'm only 19. I want to go out once in a while. I want to go, even if it's not to Gerard's house, I want to go somewhere, shoot pool, play darts, you know, get out.
And you know what? Honestly, you entered in this relationship. You can't make her 35 today.
Right, I exactly know.
You are the one who decided to marry somebody that much younger than you. You better start running, jogging, getting some more energy and figuring out how to do it. Because, you know, hey, I mean, I'm going to tell you the truth. I got to take a break, but my wife is 8 years younger than me, and I swear to you, I'll run her like I'm 7 years younger than her. Because this ain't happening to me. Let me take a break. We'll be back right after this. Is there a possibility that one of these ladies could be someone else's child?
Yes, there is.
And if you say, yes, there is, you're now telling them for the very first time,
Right.
who could have a different father?
My first daughter.
No.
Montel Williams show audience, we'd love to have you. All you have to do is call that number on your screen right now. Look forward to seeing you. Please welcome Crystal and her sister, Deanna and Ricky, to the show. Sister Ricky. Crystal, you wrote the show. You called us.
Yeah.
Why?
34 years of doubt.
What do you mean 34 years of doubt?
34 years of what we've always known as our real father, questioning whether or not my mom was faithful to him and whether or not us kids were his.
So all along, your father has said, well, I think this one may be mine, but that one's not. Well, wait a minute, she's mine, but she's not.
Right.
But she's not, and she is. And you don't know who your fathers are, do you?
No, not really. I mean, we trust my mother.
And your mother said?
My mother has said that we are, unless there was immaculate conception somewhere, we're all his. So she stands by it, and we're just here basically to clear her name. I'm just tired of him questioning, him talking badly about my mom. We love my mom. She's been there for us all our life, and we're here to clear her name.
Well, the two of you have been with Mom, but Ricky, you went with Dad. And you say what? Dad is right also.
My dad, yeah.
He's your dad?
Yeah.
He's your dad? He's not their dad?
Well, I think he's all of our dads, but, like, we're here to find that out, you know. We've been told for years that we're other people's, from family members and people that we know, and we just want to get it straight. In our heads, we know who our father is.
Okay, and Dad has also participated by saying he knows that Mom was cheating when each one of you were conceived, right? Is that what he says?
He has suspicions.
What's that?
I was just going to say, he has told me recently that he thought that I might be the only one that was really his.
That our mother should fess up.
That she should fess up, that I'm the only one that's really actually his.
Let's talk to Dad for a second. Please welcome Bear to the show. How are you, son? Have a seat. Thank you. You think what, Bear? Because this is part of the reason why there's a question. You've raised the question yourself, right?
Right.
What do you think?
Well, every time that we'd get into a little spat or an argument, there was something going on. And there's been so many allegations and stuff that none of them are. And it's just a closure to them. Is why they want to come up here, and to me too.
Wasn't it a fact that somewhere along the way, Carol's sister told somebody that her deceased husband fathered Deanna?
Yes, she told me.
Now, okay, wait. Carol, are you there?
Montel.
Carol, are you there?
Yes.
Carol couldn't be here today because she's in the hospital right this second. She was on her way here. You're in hospital from what, Mom? Why are you there?
I went into respiratory arrest. I quit breathing,
And
I...
and are you feeling better? Are you
Yes,
doing better?
I'm doing much better, and
Okay.
I wish I was there with you.
We wish you were here also. There's confusion here.
Yes.
There's been accusations that you slept with your own sister's husband. And
Right.
he fathered a child.
Right.
Whose children are these three women sitting on this stage?
Well, I wish I could say they did not belong to that man that's sitting there on that stage.
However,
But I'm afraid they are. And
is there a possibility that one of these ladies could be someone else's child?
yes, there is.
And if you say, yes, there is, you're now telling them for the very first time,
Right.
who could have a different father?
My first daughter.
No.
And the reason is not,
Listen, Ricky,
this is not anything that was planned or was vindictive or it was just, I was 16 years old. I went to a party. I got drunk. Woke up the next morning. There was a man laying next to me. You know, I don't know if anything happened. He swore there wasn't anything that happened. The next month I was pregnant. As far as I know, you're Dick. And I've always believed that.
But okay, all right, I have to take a break. But Bear, you have to answer to this because your ex-wife was 16 at this time.
Right.
And when this took place, she just said it again. The man that was there that you now just reached over to Ricky and said, see, I told you, neither one of them admitted to doing anything that night, did they?
Right.
No.
No. So no one knows if anything took place or not.
Right.
So all of these allegations and speculation is just that.
Right.
There's even speculation that the reason why Carol was blamed with sleeping with her sister's husband is because at the time, you were sleeping with her yourself.
I was what?
You were sleeping with Carol's sister.
I have to difference with that. I was not.
No, I'm saying there's an accusation.
Yeah, but I was not.
Okay, but now, if you can sit here and adamantly deny that accusation, why is it that Carol can't adamantly deny the other accusations against her?
She can...
I'm sorry?
She can say whatever she wants to say. I know that I have never slept with her.
With her sister?
With her sister.
Okay,
So,
so
I mean,
if
she
you
can say whatever she wants. I don't care what she says.
Wait, here's the question. If you say that, she says the same thing. He can say whatever he wants. I know I didn't sleep with my sister's husband.
Well, I know I didn't either.
Okay, so if that's true, if you're saying you're true, why can't she be true?
I have one statement to say about that. You have so much negative to say about my mother. She's been there all our lives. You've never been there. I've got one thing to show you that you've ever given me when I was a child. This is the only thing. This is a symbol. You gave me this when I was 4 years old. And that's all I had to hold on to with you. That's it. And you can sit there and say that my mom had an affair, but you have no evidence, nothing other than your own guilt because you had affairs. The other thing I want to say to you...
Wait, no. You know what? That's not why he's here. Okay. He's here because you want an answer. And I agree with him. Because right now, this is what this family has done for the last 30 years.
Right.
Talk about each other, make up stuff just to pit the children against each other. Take a break, and maybe it's time for us to get some answers. Take a break. We'll be back right after this. Please welcome psychotherapist Rosaria Love to the show. And I wanted you to be here before I gave out these results because there's a lot happening on the stage in two places, and especially in one. And Deanna, I didn't give you a chance to say something. You wanted to say something to your father. What is that?
32 years old. You've never, ever been in our lives. I get a birthday card for the first time in 30 years. You expect that card to make up for the past 32 years. You know, there's times we sat and waited for you to come pick us up. We've got our jackets on. We're all sitting there as kids waiting for you. You say we didn't want to come to you. You never showed up to pick us up.
I went with him every
I
weekend.
went until he quit coming.
Every weekend I went with him.
We sat there with our jackets on.
And we lived in the same house.
Okay, hold on a second. But Rosaria, that's why I wanted you here. Because this is pitted children against children. These are two, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this about you, Barry. I'm going to say this about you, Carol. Two selfish adults who got a divorce and couldn't let their nastiness between each other go away so they could preserve the love between their children. You have 3 children here who, no matter who was the father, have been grown up thinking that they were sisters, who now are fighting because she gets to see you, she sees her, and they won't even talk to each other. And this is ridiculous. Because the 2 of you aren't going to live that long. What do you think?
I definitely agree with you. And what's really unfair to the children is the fact that the parents have put them in a loyalty conflict, so that they've had to choose sides and align with one parent or not, which in some ways doesn't allow them to have the support in the relationships as siblings between them. And that has created problems all along for everyone. And now what's happening, you're seeing that they're having to defend the parents, and the parents are sitting quietly by allowing their children to fight out or continue fighting the fight that they've been having that never got resolved between the parents.
Absolutely. And then you look over here, a mother and a daughter. A mother who goes to just make sure the man would pay child support. Now, something went wrong there. They get back a letter from a lab that says you are not her mother. And for 9 years, this woman hides that information within herself, shares it with her child, and now for the last 6 years, they have agonized trying to figure out, where do I belong?
Yeah.
Where is my child?
And that's been just so unfair because you're living under secrets and fears, you know, and worry about the fact of what will happen and what will happen if the truth comes out and all of those things. And I wonder about how that has affected you regarding the choices that you've made, how you've lived your life, even regards to the relationship between you and your daughter, how that has impacted that whole fear about the fact that this may not be my child.
Have you held back some because you think maybe someday they may take her away?
No.
Have you been there 100% in love with your daughter?
I've given her more trying to make up because I have 2 other children who have extended families, and they would get gifts and everything, but she didn't get any from a dad or a grandma or anything, so I was trying to make up to her and just
And you've been there for Mom. You love her,
carry
do
on.
you not?
Yeah, I do.
Well, you know what? Let's put this all to rest right now. It's the love that's important here.
Yes.
It's the true love that's important here. It's the blood love that's important here. Did you hear me? 15 years ago, a laboratory gave you erroneous information. You are mother and daughter by a DNA test that's 99.8% accurate. This stands in a court of law. There's no question this is your child. We'll be back right after this. Yes, ma'am.
This is for Brad. Brad, you're too good of a friend. You're too good of a husband. And Lisa, what would you do if he was cheating on with your best friend?
She'd kill
What would
me.
you do?
She's already called me.
She what?
She'd kill me.
Then why are you with her?
Okay.
I'll tell you, that's the only problem I have is when she drinks. She's a beautiful woman. She's
You don't
a
drink at
beautiful
all, do
mother.
you?
No, I don't.
It's going to be a tough, you already, right now, fighting again. Square peg, round
Same
hole.
situation.
Square peg, round hole.
But when she doesn't drink, and she
But you
knows
know,
this.
But when she gets depressed because she feels penned up, she may drink more. You're back in the same place that you were at before. The two of you need to seriously sit down and talk about what it is you are doing, not just to yourselves, but to that beautiful little boy that I was playing with upstairs named Marcus.
Right, he's the important thing.
Absolutely.
And he was with me for the 5 days she was gone, and she was going to give him to me and stay away. And which is fine with me because I love him more than anything in this world.
Well,
whether he is mine or not, I would still love him. And I would still keep him.
Well, you came here wondering whether or not the infidelity only took place once and when it was said to have taken place, wondering whether or not it took place before you even got married, and wondering whether or not your child was yours. I will say this 100%, that Gerard is excluded as being the father of Marcus. There is zero chance he could be. Brad, by a percentage of 99.98, you are Marcus's father. There are still questions here. Take this. There are still questions that still need to be answered here, and I'm not sure if we've answered them just by giving you that piece of paper. I'm going to take a break. Carol, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Before I read the results, after we come back from this commercial break, is there anything you want to say to your daughters? Because one thing we are sure of, all three of these young ladies, you were the birth mother of, correct?
Right.
Is there anything you want to say to them before we read the results?
That I love them and that everything's going to be okay.
All right, we'll take a break, and we'll see how okay it is when we come back. We'll be back right after this. It's all right, before I do go on, I just said this to Brad and Lisa. When you do have a relationship that has that many years in it, it requires extra work. The extra work is that the older person doesn't have to come down to a level, but you have to appreciate the fact that she's not old enough to know some of the things that you enjoy. So when you throw on the old Bee Gees album, she might be wanting to listen to somebody else. Just get a grip and change the channel. If she decides, I want to go out and play foosball this evening, you need to learn how to play foosball. But if he decides he wants to go out waltzing, you better go learn how to waltz, because it's called a union.
I'm not that old. I listen to Aerosmith and stuff, you know.
Oh, do you really? I'm just messing. I'm messing. I was trying to find broad ranges. All right, so, in the case of father and mother who have tried their best over the last 30 years to pit their children against each other, make one pick one over the other, make one think that they're not really as much a sister as the other one is, I have 3 tests here. I'm going to read out the numbers. To a percentage of 99, I'm sorry?
I just want to ask one thing before I know the results, because I am totally positive that he is our father. I want to ask him to publicly apologize to my mother and to us for all the stuff that he's put us through.
You know what? You might ask that here, but I think there's a lot of apologizing that needs to take place, not just from him,
Not just from him.
not just from her. I'm going to also look at the three of you and say there's a lot of apologizing that needs to go on right here because you also helped to foster what they started. Because you believe
tried
one.
to stick together,
Huh?
though. We've tried to keep
That's what
close.
I'm saying. This is what it's all about because, Rosario, I said this before the show to them.
Right.
20 years from now, let's say the best case, he's going to live to be 110. You will be about 65. Your mother's going to live to be 115. I don't know. Let's say they live that long. One day they're gone, and it's the three of you.
Exactly.
Aunts together, you know. This is what it's about. So you three, when you say ask him for a public apology, you ought to all apologize to each other, and I'm not going to ask you to do that on the air. I'm not.
I'm not going to.
Okay, all right.
But,
Well,
Montel,
yes. Do we want to know these results or what? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Wait. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
okay, now, I didn't get a chance to say anything. I've been ridiculed by these kids. I've been ridiculed by her. I'm not here to run anybody down, okay?
Well, I'm going to.
Well, that's up to you.
No, go ahead.
But what I'm saying is, I haven't had a chance to say a word.
Go ahead. I've given you a chance
Okay.
to say a couple.
She has kept these kids away from me for years, and every time that these kids would even invite me over to dinner or something, well, we don't want mom to know.
Well, that's as adults.
No, let him
That's
finish.
not as-
Let him finish.
Let me
Doesn't
finish.
matter.
You
Let him
had your
finish.
chance before I come out here.
Make your point.
Well, whatever. And this year, at Christmas time, this is something they didn't want their mother to know. This is the first time since all this has
We
come
did
up.
it.
Stop.
Ricky.
Let him speak. Yes.
This is the first time since all this come up that, excuse me, that all three of these kids and I were together.
Okay, no, wait a minute. You just said, I don't want to put anybody down, but what you just did was, and I know she doesn't know this, you know she's on the phone, so she just heard it.
But I
So we're
didn't.
still putting it down. We're
But
still
I didn't.
causing anguish.
But that ain't what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
This is the first time in all these years that I finally had the kids all together at one time. And I finally got all my grandkids together at one time. You know, and I really appreciated that. But I'm tired of the humiliation. I'm tired of my ex-wife running me down to everybody.
Can I say something, please?
You know what? No. You know what? I'm going to stop the two of you both from saying anything. Both you and Bear, what you two of you need to do is recognize you don't like each other. You haven't liked each other in 30 years. Understand that. Don't like each other between each other. Leave your kids out of it. That's all you got to do.
That's right.
So I just gave the results.
I knew that.
Did you hear what I said? Leave your kids out of it. All three children.
Take that.
Crystal, by a percentage of 99.99. Ricky, by a percentage of 99.99. Deanna, 99.99. You all knew this all along.
Yeah.
You just played into... No, wait a minute, excuse me.
Sorry.
The three of you knew this. You all knew this. You just played a silly game for 30 years. You wasted 30 years of your life. You wasted 30 years of love. And now all of a sudden, because you have, you're still going to get mad about it. All five of you have. That's the answer to the question. I'm going to take a break. Rosario, I'll hear from you when we come back. We'll be back right after this. We're out of time. It's so wild how the saying, the truth shall set us free,
Right.
sometimes work. But I think in this particular case with this family, the truth's like a big anvil or anchor.
Right.
It's still going to anchor them down because they're going to still try to figure out a way to fight. Am I right or wrong?
And that's exactly, because I'm still hearing the fact that they're not even giving themselves permission to go ahead and develop a relationship with both parents, that they're still struggling with that. And they have to give themselves permissions, along with the parents giving the children permission to be able to have the relationship and not feel like they're stuck in the loyalty situation. But I'm glad that one of the things is that for all of the people here, that they were able to get some truths. Hopefully now that that's no longer an issue, that they can move on and make other choices in their lives and begin to heal and forgive what's been happening for them.
That's what definitely needs to happen. I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being here. Join us on the next Montel.